Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. I'm Jessica Flynn and I am the owner and maker of Flynn Sisters Boutique. And today I'm going to show you guys how I do my vinyl wrapped cups. So I'm going to take you through 3 different ways to do this. We'll do a kind of vertical half wrap, we'll do a horizontal kind of partial wrap here, and then I'll also show you guys how to go all the way around the cup. It's a lot easier than you think, and I will have all the materials and equipment that you'll need to do this listed in the description box. And if you guys have any questions or comments, go ahead and put that in the comments section. I am very active down there, so I do answer every single comment. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please hit subscribe. Hit that bell button so you don't miss any of our uploads. We do release new tutorials or reviews every Wednesday and Saturday. All right, you guys, so let's go ahead and get started. All right, you guys, so before you get started, you're gonna want to get yourself a fully sanded and prepped cup. So you're also gonna need patterned vinyl. I've already trimmed this one down. And then I've got my combo square ruler, and then a really super sharp X-Acto knife. Be careful when using this. I've got some scissors, I've got a pencil, and then I've got my regular ruler. All right, so what I do before I put the vinyl on is I like to mark the cup at the center line on both the top and the bottom so that I can line up the edge of my vinyl so that the starting edge of my vinyl is totally square, okay? You want this totally straight. So what I do is I just take this square combo ruler and I place it up against the cup. You want to have a nice clean flat surface when you guys are doing this, so I would recommend, if you have a really glittery workspace, put some clean parchment or butcher paper down. Okay, so we're going to mark the top center, the top bottom. All right, so what we're gonna do here is line up the edge of our vinyl with the 2 marks that we made. You really wanna make sure that this edge is as straight as you can get it. If you end up with a little overhang on the bottom, that's totally fine. It's probably gonna be easier for you guys if you do have a 1-inch overhang at the bottom. And all you're going to really be doing is keeping the backing of that vinyl on for as long as you can. And you're just going to press down as hard as you can, working your way from one end of the cup to the other. And if you get some air bubbles that you can't kind of push out, you can actually lift up your vinyl and reapply it in those small sections. You'll see me kind of pull off the vinyl and put it back on. That's because I had gotten a couple bubbles. Also, if you have bubbles that are too far back to where you can't kind of lift up and put back down, just use your X-Acto knife and poke little holes in those bubbles and rub them out. And so all I'm doing is kind of like pulling hard, pressing down. Your arms are probably going to hurt. And then when you get to the end here, you're just gonna kind of leave it as is, and then I will show you how to trim it. Notice I've got an overlap where the vinyl starts on one end and I've left about 1-inch overlap where it ends on this side. So if you can notice, you see that seam, you could see that seam from where the vinyl starts underneath here. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna really press hard on that seam so you could see it really well. And you're gonna take your knife, very carefully please, and you're gonna run your knife along that edge, okay? Just gonna go right up to that spot. And you wanna do this like in good lighting. Get your glasses on if you need them, because it's kind of hard to see, but you really do want to cut right up on it, not over it, not next to it, right on it. Okay, because you really want, you don't really want an overlap. You want those two edges to come and meet really nicely. Okay, all right, and so we're just removing that overlap piece. All right, so, and then just go around one more time and look for any bubbles. Okay, so there we've got that, and then we're gonna go ahead and trim the top. So when we're trimming the top, we're gonna take our knife and we're just gonna run the knife along the rim here. Just pushing the knife along the rim of the cup. Okay, and then we have a nice clean edge here. Now I know what some of you are thinking, how are we gonna seal that edge for the epoxy? Because we're gonna bring epoxy all the way up to here. How are we gonna seal that edge? And the short answer to that is after we have probably two layers of epoxy over this, you're just gonna sand down the edge a little bit to expose some of that stainless steel. And then in your last coat of epoxy, bring that up over that exposed little lip that you made. So if you notice here, there's a small bit of where the pattern ends. It's because what I did was, after the second coat of epoxy, I just sanded it down just a little bit. That way you can create a little bit of room for your epoxy to connect with the stainless steel on the outside of the cup. That way you're not leaving a vulnerable rim up here at the top. There's nowhere for the epoxy to adhere to stainless steel if we leave it like this and then trim all the excess epoxy off the top. And then here at the bottom, you'll see where we had some parts that kind of overlapped. So we're gonna trim the bottom in the same way as we trim the top. So you're just gonna run your knife very carefully around this edge. That is what's so nice about this sharp edge on the Craft Haven all-in-one straight, is that it has this sharp cornered edge that makes it so easy to look at how nicely that finishes along that edge. Okay, so we've got the bottom trimmed up really nice. And if during this process any of this paint kind of got messed up, what you'll want to do to finish the bottom is you would just take some painter's tape, unsticky it, you guys know how I do, and bring that tape right up along, the edge, okay? You'll really want to obviously do a really good job at this, because you do not want to get paint on your pattern that you just worked so hard to get on there. And then we're going to coat this with saran wrap, okay? Protect this pattern. Then we're going to take our white matte spray paint, or whatever color you want the bottom to be, and you're just going to spray the bottom of this real nice, okay? Let it fully dry. Remove your tape and remove your saran wrap. And then what you're gonna do to finish off this bottom, or what I would do is, and I absolutely love this idea, and also why I love Craft Haven tumblers, okay? This is a nice flat inset bottom, okay? And we're just gonna measure inside this little area here. For this particular cup, you've got about 2 1/4 inches, okay? So this is a 2 1/4 inch circle. We're gonna go into Cricut Design Space or Silhouette software, whatever you use, and cut out a circle, a 2 1/4 inch circle, and then we're gonna apply that vinyl circle right here. And you can apply it right over the paint. As long as you have this paint dry and smooth and you did a nice job painting it, you could put that vinyl right there, okay? So imagine, if you will, I get excited. Say you wanted to do a different print on the bottom, okay? Like, so you had this print on the sides and then we put this print on the bottom in that little circle. Guys, how cute would that be? So that is how I would finish the bottom, okay? And then you're gonna epoxy all over this, okay? Do not put rubbing alcohol on these patterned vinyls, okay? Very important not to put rubbing alcohol on the patterned vinyl. I don't know about all patterned vinyl, but most of the stuff that I use, the rubbing alcohol will take the pattern right off, even acetone, obviously. So be careful with that, okay? And so you're gonna epoxy all over this, and then you can add your decal. Yes, you can add a decal right over this vinyl. However, I just kind of don't like the look of that. So that is how we do the full vinyl wrap. Next, we're gonna move on to the partial. So stick around, we'll get to that next. So moving on to this next design, we've got a fully sanded and prepped tumbler. And what we're gonna wanna do is kind of measure up from the bottom where we want our vinyl to go. On this particular design, I only went up about 3 3/4 inches. So what I like to do is tape my pencil to a ruler and stabilize the ruler. I'm just gonna double check and make sure I got the right height here. All right, and we just tape our pencil there. You definitely want to use a pencil because you can't, if you mess up, you can't take it off of this matte spray paint. And you can't use rubbing alcohol or acetone on these. So if you happen to smudge any marker or anything onto the vinyl or the cup, you won't be able to remove it. A pencil is easy because if you have to erase it, you can without any kind of residue or things like that. So anyway, I'm just going all the way around the cup. I've got my line. I'm going to take my masking tape now. And we're just going to mask off along the line. You can also use electrical tape for this part, which is kind of easier because electrical tape is more flexible. Okay, so that's what we got there. And then we have our patterned vinyl. So when I am measuring how much patterned vinyl I'm gonna need, I'm gonna want an overlap at the top and the bottom. So I'm gonna want about 1 inch more on the top and the bottom than what I actually need. So for this case, I'm just gonna use the pattern to cut. If you didn't have a straight up and down pattern, you would want to measure and mark with your ruler and your pencil on the back of the vinyl, okay? So we're gonna want to try and keep this as straight as possible. Because this is a pattern with very straight lines, we want it to go around the cup as straight as possible. Now, this is a tapered cup, so that's going to be a little difficult, But just do your best, okay? Don't kill yourself over this, guys. Like, it doesn't have to be, you know, totally perfect. We're gonna mark like we did with the first one so we can get a totally straight start. I'm just gonna line up straight right there on our little marks. Again, you guys, we want that overhang on the top and the bottom. Okay, and you're just gonna run your fingers firmly along the vinyl, okay? And just really pushing out. And just cut off some of this excess here. And again, we're gonna have some overlap, and that's okay. So again, we're just gonna push into the seam so we can see where to cut. Really take your time with this, guys. And we'll just slice that bottom off. Okay, and there we have our seam, okay? So again, not perfect, right? We got a little bit where the pattern didn't match up, and that's okay, all right? So now what do we do about this bottom part? Is we're gonna pull and press. You're gonna pull really, really tight. Not like tight enough to rip it or anything, but you want to pull tight and push out any of the wrinkles, okay? So you should have something that looks like this. You do not have to finish the cup like this at the bottom if you do not want to. It would be a lot easier if you just trimmed it right at the edge rather than pulling it over. This is just how I prefer to do it. Notice on this outer rim, we've gotten out as much wrinkles as we possibly can, okay? Then we're gonna go through with our knife and trim on the inside of this lip. This is a 20-ounce skinny from Craft Haven. And this is how I would handle this kind of bottom. Trim along that bottom there. This cut doesn't have to really be that perfect. And when you're looking for a cup to do this on, you want to kind of have this rounded, if you're going to take it all the way to the bottom like this, you want to have kind of this rounded edge. I'm not talking about if you're good with trimming it off the side. I'm saying if you want to pull it all the way around the bottom, you want to have something with kind of a rounded edge. Make sure that that edge there on the bottom is firmly in place, completely sealed onto the cup, okay? Then we're going to trim along this edge that's against the tape, okay? Then we're just trimming all the way around, okay? And then we're going to take off this excess. And there we have it, okay? So then we're going to take off this tape. And we're going to tape off again down here, and then we will spray paint and apply glitter to this top half. And I'll show you how I do that here in a bit for the easiest way. So we'll be back in a bit. All right, you guys, so for the half wrap one, We are going to, this one right here, we're going to basically do it just like we did with the others. We're going to mask off with some tape where we want our pattern vinyl to be. You want to get a piece of tape that will span the length of your cup, and then run that piece of tape along your clothes so it's not so sticky. And I'm just going to run that along the center of the cup and bring it down the sides here as evenly as you can. If you guys want to see more detail about how I do split cups, I have a tutorial which I will link in this video and in the description box as well. All right, so just kind of double checking that we have enough before we get started. And make sure it's totally free of any debris. And I'm just gonna start by adhering the edge of my vinyl to the tape, the blue tape, okay? Okay, and we're just gonna smooth out with our fingers, pressing really hard, keeping the backing on for as long as we can, just like we did the full wrap, okay? This one's just gonna go a lot quicker because we're only doing half. So that's good. So then what we're gonna do is we're gonna press against the seam of our tape so we could see it really clearly. I don't know if you guys could see that, but there's like a little kind of ridge there from where our tape line is. So we're just gonna trim along our tape line. Okay, and then for the top, you're just gonna kind of want to stretch it up and over a little bit above that top rim, just to make sure you get all the wrinkles out along the top. And then we will, oh, I got a big bubble there. We'll pull and stretch around the bottom edge like we did the this partial wrap one, okay? And I'm going to show you guys later on in the video how to finish the bottom. If you notice in this one, you cannot see where the bottom of the cup and the vinyl meets, because that is how I finish these bottoms, okay? So I'm going to show you later on in the video how I do that, just to give a really nice clean finish. If you guys wanted to trim off right here on the edge and just either glitter this bottom, that would definitely be easier if you didn't want to wrap it all the way around the edge. For me, I prefer this kind of like seamless look of blending the color with the vinyl, so I really want to show you guys how to do that. But it's optional, you know, definitely an easier way to finish it. You just wanted to trim that. And then once I've got that, I'm going to take my knife along the very edge of that rounded corner. See where it starts to round over there? I'm just going to run my knife along there. So see, that's how we finish. Okay, and I know it looks crappy now, but it'll look good in the end, I promise. And then again with the top, we're gonna finish it by just shoving our, like running our knife along the corner here. You wanna make sure you have a really sharp knife to do this. kind of in the same way you'd scrape epoxy off of the top rim. Okay, that finishes. Remove our tape. What we've got so far, so what you'll want to do next is tape off this vinyl section, and then you would, if you needed to spray paint this a different color or whatever, you want to spray paint your base color and then glitter. If you wanted to glitter it 2 different colors, you could do that. I would recommend watching my marble split tutorial to show you how to isolate the glitter in this front section. And I will link that video down below and in this video as well. So that is what we will do next, and I will come back here soon to show you guys how we finish the bottoms, okay? All right, you guys, so since we last left off, we had just applied this vinyl, and what I did was I taped off this section, and I spray painted a like nude color base coat for this one, and then after that I did epoxy method glitter, and then once the glitter was dry, I taped off again, and I put polyacrylic over the glitter to completely isolate it and let that dry on my turner. Once that was fully dried, I removed the tape and then I epoxied all over the whole thing. And then after about 8 hours, came back and sanded my top rim, and I sanded the bottom and anywhere else on the cup that needed a little bit. So notice that I did sand off a good portion of the vinyl that was on here, and that's okay. What we're gonna do to finish is tape off, and we're gonna spray paint this white, and then we're gonna epoxy over it, and then this cup will be done. The reason why we would wait until we have some epoxy built up here to spray paint is so that we have this kind of smooth, seamless finish between the vinyl and the bottom. So when I'm picking patterns, I try to, especially for cups like this, I try to look for stuff that I can blend with spray paint. So that's how I would finish this one. The half and half that we did, we'll finish off in the same way. The way I did the glitter on this one was with the quick glitter technique, which I do have a tutorial for as well. I will link that in the video. And then once the glitter was dry, I epoxied over the whole thing. Of course, taping off the vinyl when I was applying the quick glitter part. All quick glitter is it's just a fine white or translucent glitter that's mixed into epoxy and then applied directly onto the cup. And the reason I did that was because it would come out smooth really fast, as opposed to like epoxy method glitter where, you know, you kind of have to smooth it out and stuff. Also, it keeps the glitter in place and doesn't fly around everywhere like loose glitter would, okay? So after that's cured, I sanded the bottom on this one in the same way I did this one. I just am only taping off half of it, and I'm gonna paint this part kind of a similar color to what's on here. So I was thinking either I'll do this candy pink or maybe this pink glow color. I haven't really decided yet. So once that spray paint on the bottom dries, what I'll do is remove all the tape, and then add my vinyl strips for like the dividing lines and stuff, and then any kind of decals that I want. For the full vinyl wrap, I did apply that pattern on the bottom, which I thought was super cute. And it finished out really well. So as you can see, you guys, I started these cups on Wednesday. today is now Friday and they're almost done. So as you can see, this is a really quick and easy way to get some cups done pretty fast. And the patterns and the colors are just so vibrant and fun. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this tutorial. I will show finished pictures of these cups later on. And thank you so much for watching. Hopefully we'll see you guys Wednesday. If you love this video, you could check out our last video here. Also be sure to find us on Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, and of course subscribe for all our new videos that come out every Wednesday and Saturday. Thanks so much for watching. See you soon.